Hello everyone, Eric Rogers here with Merchant Careers, and today is Testimonial Friday. This is being recorded and will be posted on your training webpage, so watch this again and again because you're going to get some pretty darn good information from a regional account manager in the field just like you, recruited just like you. He's going to tell us, hey, what's working, maybe even what's not. And today is the day after Cinco de Mayo, so hopefully everybody is feeling okay, right? So here in Arizona, obviously, that is a big deal. So what we want to do is I'd like to introduce and Joseph Wetherington. Hopefully I got that right. That's a long last name. If you were a football player, boy, you would have used all of your jersey. So and I have to admit right now, guys, that my mom paid the extra money when I was in grade school to get this type of photograph. So for those of you that have had this, we used to think this was the coolest thing of all time, because if you were wearing glasses, and Joseph does wear some shades, that it would be able to sparkle. I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but this used to be the coolest thing because the pretty girl in my class thought that was so neat, and I wore glasses. This was pre-contacts and then LASIK. Had my braces, so as you can imagine, quite the duckling. And but this is something, folks, that this photograph just kind of makes me snicker every time I see it. This is awesome. So Joseph, thank you for being a good sport. Now, guys, I've met Joseph. He is a regional account manager here in Arizona. He is going after it. Okay, he had a full-time job, kind of is working his way into this business because he understands you are getting paid residuals, full residuals, regardless of your monthly production. There's no quota, but I just speaking with Joe when he was in the office, self-driven. This is something that you can't teach, although it takes no talent to get it. He is self-driven. I ask him, hey, did you have a good Cinco de Mayo? And he'll tell you the story. He's out prospecting. How do you like that? So this is something that I want you to kick back, relax, pick up, take some notes here because Joe's going to give you some good information. And I think, Joseph, if you just start with, how you got started, and then you may want to mention that, yes, I've been to the office, did some training locally and things like that. I'm sure everybody that's in attendance would love to hear any ideas that you might have for them that you're using, and just take it away. I'm going to mute myself, and ladies and gentlemen, here's our Spotlight Ram of the Week. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you, Eric and team. Definitely an honor to be the Spotlight Ram this week. Just give a quick little background of myself. The last 8 years I've been in retail management. So one thing about retail management is you definitely have to be self-disciplined, and very often retail management, you don't have a lot of oversight. So I kind of look at that as some nice little mental preparation. But one thing that I've always prided myself on is being very driven. And when I first saw this opportunity, it's one of those things where, it's you make or break your own success. So one thing, nice, getting a little mustache going on there. And so, my background has been one of, having to put myself out there. When you're in retail sales, you kind of got to go for it if you're going to hit those large sales goals. So this is something that definitely didn't intimidate me. One thing I really appreciate about being a part of this team is the support you get. The first thing I'm going to say, like point number one, use the office. There's, you can do it via phone. You can do it via text, via email. There's quick ways to get questions. So that's number one. Use your support. That's a big thing. Don't be afraid to use your support. But then I'm going to go to number two. The number 2 point I would give you is that if you have resources already, be diligent. If you get logged into Kajabi, watch the trainings, watch the videos, educate yourself, because you need to walk into businesses with confidence. And when you don't have confidence, that's one thing I learned in retail sales, you sell what you know and you sell it well with confidence. So take the time. Each week, you need to pick a time. Each week, you are being disciplined and you are using the training materials. Card Connect Knowledge Center. Get in there, know it. I've called Card Connect. I'm just going to throw that out there right there. I love to call Card Connect. I don't do it a lot, but I called them up and I said, hey guys, I'm with First Direct Financial, and then I've asked them a few quick questions, and they've been super helpful at getting me the information I needed quickly, especially when it comes to API and websites. The other thing I've done is I've called in-store. When I was out in the field helping a customer look at a piece of equipment, I was able to quickly pull it up on my tablet, show it to the potential client because I was prepared. And then I answered what I did know. What I did not know is I said, hey, our next appointment's on Tuesday. Let me go ahead and get those answers for you. So use the resources at hand. But if you're struggling in the field feeling confident, then there really is no reason not to. So get in front of your training material. In the age of technology, we have so many resources at hand. Use them. Once you've gone through Kajabi, you've gone through your Card Connect Knowledge Center, then if you have any questions, then definitely reach out to your support team. You know, what a big help it was to be able to shadow Gabe. That was phenomenal. Now, for those of you that, you know, aren't in the area, you can't get to the office, you know, I can tell you what I did over the phone with Gabe was much like what I did in the office with Gabe. You know, use your national sales director. What an invaluable tool. Schedule, if you feel like you're struggling or you need that, then like, need that pick me up. Go ahead and schedule that once a week time with them where they can, you know, what I love what Gabe does is he uses the Join Me. I just jump on into Join Me and he throws things up on the computer and he really gets me fired up and shows me techniques and shortcuts. So that's you know, I say point 1 and 2 right there is using your self-driven, using your support, and then using the resources that are given to us. And so, and if you're taking notes, I'm gonna jump in to number 3. Number 3 is, and this one thing Gabe taught me, and I love it, is really doing your research on businesses. You know, so I'll give you some good, the bad, and the ugly. So what I've been doing is I've been prospecting churches. That's just kind of been a little sweet spot because I'm comfortable in that area. So what I did is I pulled my list. I got my office managers. I found out who the decision makers were at these churches, and I got a good list. I was all fired up, and I went out there and I started hitting them. And by the time I hit the 4th church, what I realized is half of them are in schools and half of them aren't in the office. So that was kind of like a learning lesson for me that I needed to go ahead and call ahead and find out when the church offices were. You know, I'd done my research. I looked at the websites. I saw a number of them were using PayPal. Well, hello, PayPal. We beat that rate all day long. And so lesson learned in my preparation was I'd done my online preparation, but I hadn't quite done enough. So, you know, so to anybody out prospecting that type of business, make sure you know somebody's there. And, you know, and like anything, it can be difficult walking into businesses. So do as much research as possible. Know who you need to talk to as best you can. Oh, thank you, Eric. I love that. I've already been using that. Already been using this, getting this information out to PayPal customers, getting this to them. And so far, so good. I've seen some good results off sharing this information. What I always like to tell anybody using Square, anybody using PayPal, Stripe, those types of services, is those are convenient ways to use those are convenient ways to take credit cards. But just like when I run into the grocery store, I'm going to pay less than if I run into Circle K. If I run into Circle K or 7-Eleven, grab a gallon of milk, holy smokes, I just paid $6. If I run into Walmart, oh my goodness, I just paid $3. So that's a fun little analogy I love to use with business owners when I'm pitching things like these. And another little secret I'll use with you that I've gotten some good response from owners is when I'm talking with an owner and they're kind of balking at, no, I like my PayPal, it's easy, or I like my Square, it's easy, it's non-committal. One thing I'll always challenge the owner on is, remember, you're a business owner. Don't run your business like a customer. And I've had a few owners stop and go, huh, that's interesting. What do you mean? I said a customer can walk into a retail store and they can go ahead and buy convenient, or they can pick what they want, or they can pay a little bit more because they're going to pay that convenience fee and they don't care because they're a customer. They're just they're running their home finances however they want to run them. But I said, you're a business. You don't have that luxury. When you run out of money, you're in trouble. Your door's shut. I said, don't ever run your business like a customer. I said, I'd asked them, I said, do you plan on being in business for the next 3 to 5 years? And the guy said, well, yeah, hopefully. I said, hopefully, yes. And with a business partner like us at First Direct Financial and Card Connect, we're gonna do our best to ensure that we can save you money in this part of your business, as well as be a good partner of yours for years to come. I said, so don't give away money on something as simple as accepting credit cards. And so then this is my last point. So this is like point number 4 that I really want to drive home is you're in control of your attitude. And in this industry, it's going to feel like a yo-yo. For you Rams that are listening right now, I know I'm hearing amens. Can I get a witness from the congregation? You'll build that list. You got 10, you got 15 on there. You're like, man, I'm going to hit a loop today. I'm going to knock it out of the park. And that's what you want to do. You always want to be in control of your attitude. One of my favorite quotes from Chuck Swindoll is, life consists of 90% your attitude, how you respond to things, and how you internalize them, then how you choose to positively come against that circumstance. And then 90% attitude, 10% circumstances. When you have circumstances, there is almost nothing you can do about it. But 90% of the time, how you handle it, how you respond to it is all attitude. It's all mental. And in this field, when you're going out, you've done your research, you walk in, maybe it's even the second or third time you're going into that business, and that business owner isn't there like they said they were going to be there. You are in control of managing your attitude. And so the best thing I would suggest to you is, I've been out in the field, I've had my ups and I've had my down days. But the rule in this game is you will not lose if you don't quit. That's the rule. You just tell your mind that I am a winner. I'm going to be victorious. I'm in control of my attitude. And the only way you're going to lose is if you quit. No, I just give up. I'm getting out of this. It's an absolute numbers game. And this is where I want to help. I want to help you guys in your numbers game. So I've given you all the basics, a lot of the things you already know. I'm like reiterating it, and I'm driving it home because you'll never, ever, ever be successful without the basics. The things you're doing every week, the simple basics, getting out in the field, hitting those 10 accounts, getting to a goal of getting 6 statements a week. Those are all things you have to do. But let me help increase your numbers game. And I kind of wanted to save the best for last. So your number 4 is your attitude. Keeping yourself positive. If you have a bad visit, go ahead and get back in your car. If you're in Arizona, you turn the air conditioner on, get a good drink of water, shake that thing off. Shake it off. Grab your rearview mirror, look in the mirror, and say, okay, you're a champion. You're a winner. I'm good at this. I'm prepared. Get yourself fired back up and get back in that next business. Now, here's where we want to increase the numbers. And one thing I found a big success in, and I'm starting to build relationships, and I'm getting close to those statements, is Chamber of Commerce meetings. So I'm out in a little town called Buckeye near Phoenix, and I've been going to the chamber. And I went 1 week, nothing. Gave him a little 30-minute speech, didn't get much out of it. Went the next week, and started to get a few handshakes. And hey, let me have your business card. Tell me more about who you are. And then by the 4th week, and I'll just be flat honest with you, I think I told Eric and Gabe this, that it was on the 4th week I had that breakthrough. And it's funny because it was that morning I woke up. It was got to get up early, and I had to be there by 7. I got up, and I didn't feel like going. I was like, man, I've already gone 3 weeks in a row, haven't seen much from this, and my attitude was trying to talk me out of going. And the next thing I thought was, I remembered all of those different types of trainings I'd taken about managing yourself, self-discipline. I said, if this is the day I don't feel like going, this must be my breakthrough. So I went that day, and I'll be honest with you, I was exhausted. I didn't hardly have any energy. I got right to the chamber meeting. I put on that fake smile. I walked over to the coffee pot, got my pot of coffee, and I sat down. And as I was sitting there waiting for my 30-second elevator speech, I said, okay, I got this. I got this. No matter what, I've got this. I'm not gonna lose because I'm not a quitter. And as soon as it came time to do my elevator speech, I got up. I talked about it, and sat down, and then out of nowhere, people started asking me questions, because they allow that in my chamber group, that they allow people to ask quick questions. And the one that really drove it home was an area I hadn't even thought about. I had mentioned that I was working with local businesses and even churches, and then this gal raises her hand and says, "Oh, do you work with nonprofits as well?" I'm like, "Absolutely. If that nonprofit takes credit cards, I'd love to help them save on the rate and keep more money going to the nonprofit." All of a sudden, the whole chamber room lit up. I saw hands go up everywhere. I had 3 different business owners that were associated with nonprofits come and get my card afterwards and say, I want to schedule an appointment with you to see if you could pull our merchant statements and see if you could save our nonprofit money. All of a sudden, there it was. By the 4th meeting, consistency, consistency, consistency. I got the breakthrough. And so now the next thing I did is, now that I've gotten a good relationship built with the Chamber of Commerce in Buckeye, I'm now going to another city. There's another city close to me called Surprise. I got the website. I found out who the point of contact was. It took me 2 phone calls. I got to the gentleman. He's an insurance broker. He knows a lot of the business owners in Surprise. I called him up, had a nice 15-minute conversation, told him what I was all about. And he said, "Hey, Joseph, every 7:15 on Wednesday mornings, we have business owners meetings where we share contacts and help each other build their businesses. Come on down." And there we go. So there's the numbers game. As we know, we got to do the basics, but go ahead and give your leads a pump, like some steroids to that leads list. Get in front of business owners when they're not running their business. Get on those Chamber of Commerce websites. I've got 2 or 3 other Chamber of Commerce right in my local area. I'm going to make sure I'm plugged into the 5 Chamber of Commerce around my area. So when I have those Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday morning meetings, I can be hitting those up. I'm right in front of business owners, undistracted, making appointments, sharing with them the value of what we do, listening to what they do, which is so important. Let the business owner tell you all about them, and let them know you're a good listener, you're interested in their business, and before you know it, that rapport is going to be there. Don't feel like you got to show up right away, guns blazing, and ask everybody for their business. Go ahead and just listen, build a relationship. Remember, you're in front of a captive audience, and you're going to see them once a week or once every 2 weeks. Hit it hard out on the the field. Go ahead and work the stores you're walking into, the different doctor's offices, things of that nature. Go ahead and hit them hard. Use a little bit more of an aggressive approach there, consultatively, of course. But in those Chamber of Commerce, kind of let that relationship grow, and before you know it, like me, I've now got appointments set up next week that I'm going to be working on getting statements and bringing those home. So it'll seem like maybe there's not a lot happening right now, but remember, all the activity you do today, look at it this way, this is the attitude builder right here. All the activity you're doing today, or if you can't close it today, you're setting up the next touch so you can. You're building for the future. So when I was going around hitting those churches, by the time I hit the 4th one, I realized there was nobody there, nobody's in the offices. I just started calling, got a hold of church secretaries, and what I was able to do then was determine who was the decision maker, and now I've got appointments set up next week. So even though I didn't hit it out of the park that day, I found a way to turn what I was working on into something that I call future fill. Make sure that your funnel of leads in business is filling up. Fill it up today so that you can close it tomorrow. Don't feel like you have to close everything today, or you have to make everything happen today. Work what you have to the best of your abilities, what's in front of you now, and then once you have that work, make sure you're setting it up for the next appointment, the next touch, so that then you have enough activity built up today. I've got 20, 30, 40, 50 things working today, and then I'm going to get that book of business closed over the next 30 days, and then I'm going to have that goal of my 10 to 15 merchants closed in the next, period, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And then what you're able to do is you're always working a game plan, and since you have a plan of attack and you're working your plan, then you're able to keep your attitude and your mood up and your energy up, which is always so important, that when you're in front of owners and you're in front of those merchants, they're seeing someone who's super positive, someone who's a problem solver, and someone who doesn't let things get them down. So there you go. There's my my top 4, and then my last one, the number 5 one, was increase your numbers, put steroids to your leads list, get to the Chamber of Commerce.
Nice. Thank you so much, guys. Joseph, local yokel, he's been in the office. Gabe finally made it in today. Gabe,
How are you, Joe?
Yeah, Joe.
Nice going, buddy.
Yeah, no, Gabe's been here basically the whole time, and I've got Scott Tash, our professional trainer in-house that helps us out. Do you have any? I mean,
yeah, Joe, he's exactly right. You have to ask yourself the question every time you do an activity: is this getting me one step closer to my goal? If it is, it's well worth doing. And so you don't have to go from, hi, how are you, want to do business with me? There are steps in between, and as long as you're on that progress, moving it one step closer. And you can only do that, by, like you said, picking yourself up on your bootstraps on the days that you don't feel like doing it and getting out there and making it happen.
Yeah, and we really, again, appreciate it. And I just want to hit a couple things. We did get some nice comments from our attendees today. Jana Payne, she actually had said amen right on cue with you, Joseph. It was hilarious. And she also wants to know how you are approaching churches. So do you have any insight, Joe, before we get to just a couple other items here to wrap up?
I guess because I'm actually an ordained minister as well, so I've got a lot of time in the church. One thing I would say is always work with a church secretary. The church secretaries kind of know a little bit about everything, and so and one thing churches really appreciate, because pastors are so busy. A lot of times pastors are your decision makers, or you may have an office manager within churches. But definitely don't be afraid. That's one of those where you can make a phone call, and you can very politely talk with the church secretary, and very often he or she will give you the information you need to know, and be upfront with them. Just let them know right away what you're doing. I'm very passionate about helping churches and nonprofits and small businesses save money on their credit card processing. I just tell them that, and I said very often there isn't much you can do as a business about your credit card processing, but that's where I come in. And it's as simple as a 20-minute meeting with your pastor or your office manager. We just pull statements, and then within 24 hours or whenever it's convenient, we'll set a time after that I can come back and do a comparison and see if we could keep more money going towards the kingdom of God, or keep more money going towards the nonprofit. What we really want to do is we want to see you save money, and we want to see that go back to the work that's helping people. And as long as you're very upfront about it, that's where I actually found more success, was working with the church secretary, or if you do physically go into the building, get to that church secretary, he or she, let them know right away what you're doing, be polite, and just let them know, yeah, this is my passion. My passion is saving businesses, churches, and small profits money, and we're in the position with our partner Card Connect to be able to do that for you. And you don't really use the $1,000 guarantee with churches. That isn't really anything that drives them. Just be the churches like to know that you're serving. You're a servant. I'm a regional account manager, and I serve my customers. And that's a great approach to take with it. Is that you're someone who's a leader in your industry, but you're also a servant leader, and that speaks really well to churches.
Right, and guys, you notice that I've got independent software vendors that work with Card Connect directly right here. So your national sales directors will have this. There's one software company called Devote. You've got another nonprofit called Donor Pro that's based out of Pittsburgh. Really do not like the Steelers, but you can look at that if you choose. Then we've got some other ones here. There's your in-store. There's your Rosie. Guys, we're going to have Rosie on next Wednesday. Ginger, okay, based out of Boulder. That's pet boarding and kennel software. I mean, if it's out there, we can find it, but if you notice, there's endodontist, right? Go ahead and get these lists from your national sales director, because if you notice, he's becoming an expert in his vertical or a business type. And Scott, I know you love that approach for a regional account manager. You guys out in the field, it could be salon or beauty. Then you've got Rosie, you learn one, and these are add-on softwares or programs that are in addition to our virtual terminal, which the virtual terminal can handle most of the businesses out there. But here's based out of Chicago, charity donation software, right? So I've got it highlighted right here. So I want you guys to know we've got add-ons and the information. And before I let Scott take off with this, I did want, going back to PayPal and the hidden fees and the one rate, we did cover this, and it's found in your Tuesday training. You've got a recording. how do I sell interchange plus rates, which are better for the actual merchant, versus those one rates? That's a one rate. That's simple for me to understand. So if you've not viewed this, make sure you're taking time this weekend to check out the Tuesday training on proposals and how that works. So Scott, I mean, you, like I said, becoming a pro is in a specific vertical is what you like.
I do, because and you're not just limited to one vertical, but when you get into a particular arena and start learning their verbiages, their needs, all of a sudden you understand how that business functions and moves forward. And so, like Joe was saying, you go into 2, 3, 4 of them pretty quick. You know what they want, and you anticipate all of the questions and their needs ahead of time. You've already got the solutions in the back of your head on what that's going to be, and you have a talk track that if they don't understand their own processing and how it works and how that money can be saved, you can educate them and get them to make that change, especially these people that have that one rate. They need to be brought in, and their objection is, I've got this one rate, it's cheapest. Now, when we talk about covering objections in the training, you always talk about there's 2 different types. There are actual objections that are valid, and there are misconceptions. Both of them are valid in their mind, but this is a misconception. So we have to go back and we have to educate them and then reclose them. And the re-education has to do with showing them that they are paying way too much money for the convenience of one rate. One rate means I got money, I like getting your money out of your pocket and keeping it in mine. That's what that other credit card processor did. And they did it very well by showing simplicity. So you're going to have to go in and show them how easy it is to make that change and how much they're going to save by doing it, by educating them. This is not rocket science, but everybody looks at it like it's voodoo out there.
Yeah, when you see the numbers, you kind of freak out, right?
Even the big companies, I saved a company $1 million on their processing, and they had said they talked to all 5 of the big guys, and that's what they were stuck with, and they had the best rate. No, they don't. That is a misconception. And so you have a model with Card Connect and with First Direct Financial that is going to help you go and conquer that, but you have to understand the needs and the wants and the desires of the business you're in. That's why verticals work.
Yep, absolutely. Now, Elizabeth had a question. Are particular nonprofits that you have targeted or found success with? And Elizabeth, it took him a while, 4 times, right, in attending chambers, and anyone that was a nonprofit seemed to gravitate toward Joseph, right? Joseph, you didn't, go after a particular nonprofit. You just, made yourself and your product and First Direct available, and they came to you.
Yeah. Just remember, it's the concept. All nonprofits want to have more money for their organization.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was interesting is, sometimes you have to kind of know your crowd, but it was actually helping them understand, hey, are you sure if your website and the way you take credit cards is PCI compliant? Is that information secure? Is it tokenized? So, what I would do is each meeting I would do a little bit different 30-second elevator speech, kind of knowing my crowd. But after the first 2 meetings, they were telling me, these insurance agents or the people with the library, they were telling me they were connected to nonprofits. So I said, okay, now it's time to do a little bit of research. And that Card Connect training where it talked about how they have that patented algorithm built in, through the virtual terminal or when they take credit cards through websites, that actually grabs the lower rate. And the fact that Card Connect is a tokenized system where it keeps the information safe. So it was that Tuesday that I specifically kind of presented that way of accepting credit cards, that not only was it consistency proving to them, hey, I'm claiming, not only am I claiming, but we've got the $1,000 guarantee to back it up. So that was just my way of giving confidence to that. But then I said, this is why Card Connect is such a reputable company to work with. And I just mentioned, hey, GE, Jelly Belly, Adobe, I used what we already use. I said, hey, this is third-party validation that these other big companies use them for this reason. And it took, like I said, to the 4th meeting, and all of a sudden something clicked, and then they all came after me, and I didn't realize how many nonprofits were even in the room.
Remember, it takes 3 different contacts for people to get used to you. We've talked that in the training. is that for people to have like and trust, they've got to be exposed to you more than one time. They're skeptical when they first meet you. They listen. They start making judgments. Once you've been around them for at least 3 visits, now they open their minds up, and that is human nature.
Yep, absolutely. Now, we did get a question that I do want to address here on a Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday, man. We have had a busy, busy week. Yes, Megan Hughes has a question. How many businesses are willing to give you their merchant statements? Now, that's, again, any business should be, if you, set them up right, set yourself up and position yourself correctly, all of them should be giving you a merchant statement. So
I'm going to chime in on this one a little bit. I'm not, let's face it, not everybody's going to do it.
Correct.
There are certain people out there that they are either too busy or they just don't want to take on that burden. They're in the thick of their own business trying to make things work, and this isn't high on the priority list. So maybe about 2 out of every 3 will light up with that idea, that it's okay. Now, if you can get the other person, if you can say, hey, I just want to run that by you, and I tell you what, we'll take the burden off. That's something you shouldn't have to worry about. Who in your organization does the books that could get me that statement? I'll deal with them, and then we'll bring the results back to you later so that you can make a quick decision whether it's good or bad. If you make it so that you are taking the energy out of them, they don't have to put a lot of energy. They'll let anybody do something for them, if it's going to benefit them and they don't have to put effort into it. So you've got to be able to go in and let them understand that you're going to take all the work out of it, and all they're going to have to spend is about 15 minutes to make a quick, good business decision, and you'll have all that information for them. It's either yes or no if you want to save some money.
Yep, absolutely. And any business taking Visa, MasterCard, and Discovered is a lead. So I love the way Joseph is positioning himself, and he had made a statement, contact these business owners when they're not at their business, when they're not, having like these cavemen, arms down, legs down, we're grinding away, and then you come in, and it should be important to them. Anybody with a high business IQ would think, okay, this is, I'm accepting Visa, MasterCard, that's a fixed cost. I'm still going to take Visa, MasterCard. Why not make that as low a charge as possible? And guys, that's something that you will be able to do with First Direct Financial and Card Connect. We've got a $1,000 guarantee at the very end. You notice I didn't hear Joe mention that at all. So, Joe, do you have anything in wrapping up? I know we're 3 minutes after.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to wrap it up. I know for me, being in the field, that the first few times I was going into businesses, I was intimidated, and when I couldn't get anywhere, I was kind of disheartened. And so I want to speak to that. And the thing I would say is about the $1,000 guarantee: know when to use it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I use it almost every time, but know when to drop it in there. So this is the key. When you're going into businesses, so the last statement I worked with, so it took me 5 visits going to this coffee shop. And the most important thing I did was I kept showing up. I found out who my decision maker was. As you're visiting, don't be afraid to talk to people at the front desk. I went into a big dollar store. I could tell they were doing good business. The decision maker wasn't there, but the gal behind the counter, I came in very polite, very consultative, and she gave me all the information I needed to know. He usually works 3 p.m. to close. This is his name. Don't be afraid to chat. Just because you're not in front of the decision maker doesn't mean you can't really sweeten up the person that's in front of you, and they'll give you all the information you need to know. And then what I did is I went out to the parking lot. I came back at that time, and I waited till all the cars cleared out and the store got slow. I said, okay, lull. Walked in. There it was. There was my owner. There was my first contact. Let them know, hey, I've been working with the local Chamber of Commerce in your area, and the Chamber actually told me to come around and introduce myself because I'm working with business owners and helping them, and I'm helping them specifically in this area. And so very quickly, he let me know that he was really interested in saving money. I said, wonderful. I said, this is our $1,000 guarantee, so I'm not wasting your time, and that we really are putting our money where our mouth is. And then it was one of those where I was said, okay, and he kind of started throwing the wall up. And so what I did with him is I said, hey, I've got a route and I'm local to your area, so I'm going to swing back in next week at this time. have your statements ready if you want to do that, or we can discuss it further. And so I went ahead and I'm putting in his mind. So I've in certain businesses, you got to stop in a number of times. So this cafe, I got her telling me what was her pain point. I got her talking to me about her business. And then she started telling me all the pain points of her merchant experience. So once I got her talking about her pain point, then I just go ahead and let her talk about it. And then finally, once we got to the point where she was giving me buying signals, I said, look, you know what? Let's go ahead and not waste any more time on the pain of your current merchant. Let's see what I can do for you. And then I got her statements, and I'll go back. I've got an appointment with her. I will see her this Tuesday, and we've got a 20% savings for her. And so, no, you know, if you can't hit the home run that first day, don't worry about it. Keep going back, and you use the person that's at the counter to get you to the person that runs the business.
Right, and Sunshine needs to know how to register. She's in St. Louis, Missouri. For the chamber, simply go to Google the Chamber of Commerce, because there are going to be multiple ones there in a city that size, and choose the one that you want to go to, and just either give them a call. They're going to give you all the instructions on how to get started. So I want to make sure that everybody is aware of how easy this is. That's why I pulled up this thing called Google. It was great. So we're going to wrap this up, guys. For Eric Rogers, Scott Tass-Joseph, thank you so much, man. That was, again, just another Good Friday testimonial, and we really appreciate you taking some time. By the way, happy birthday, Dan Varner. Happy birthday, buddy. You made another one on Friday. Have a good weekend, everyone. Stay safe. Be careful out there. And check out some of those recordings. We had a really nice week with our training videos. If you missed any of these, go to your live daily training. And again, we specifically covered one rate versus, you know, our 0.5% over interchange, and really clarifying how that works here. And it's found under Tuesday. Do not get confused. This actually says that's our Cinco de Mayo stuff. So we had flip-flopped, remember, Thursday and Tuesday. So do not get confused. We apologize. We won't do that again. Scott had an appointment for Thursday, so we flip-flopped everything. So make sure you're catching that on Tuesday, the Tuesday training. So again, thank you, everyone. If we didn't get to your question or comment, we apologize. And we'll see you Monday. Same place, same time. Get your goals. You set those goals on Monday, go get them. Thank you. And give me